Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's final video. We're going to have a look at the weather of the next 10 to 14 days. Well, today's final video date will take us to the 17th of October. Wow! And we'll be able to extend it out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensemble, because they run to around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFS2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which gets us more or less to month's end, and I shall get time for that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6 AM upload, and we've also released January Friday as well. Please check out those two videos if you would like to do that. And thanks so very much for doing that. I'll tell you what's coming up at the end of the video for the weekend. Right, so you're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. We have got 13 just here. That is a tropical depression 13, giving maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with a minimum set pressure of 1,004 millibars. Clicking on 13 down there, you can see this is very shortly going to become a tropical storm in the next few hours. I think that'll be Tropical Storm Julia. Might become a short-lived hurricane just to the east of Nicaragua. And then this is going into South America, so into Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. Will take copious amounts of rain through those regions, and you know, going to be one to watch, definitely. A lot further south, this one, than we've seen through this season so far, so all eyes will be on that in the coming days. Searching temperature is, I think, about as high as it's going to get now for October. We're currently standing at 13.4, which is about 3 degrees above average. That's provisional to the 6th. I think that will start coming down from now onwards. So that's about as high as it's going to get. It has been a very mild opening week to October, as we have for the opening week of September, of course. But I think it's pretty much downhill all the way now, which is the reason why these are the GFS upper temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. We're at rugby today. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for rugby. And you can see we're going a bit zonal over the next week or so. So you're going to have cooler and warmer sectors alternating with one another in the next week. In October, that will generally usually bring the CET out about average. In winter, that will be a bit above average, because even the cooler sectors, you know, aren't that cold, especially so at night. So zonality in winter will be milder than normal, but in October, that's normally about average for the CT, which will bring the temperature down as we're about 3 degrees above average. Still looking at this colder snap through here, now the middle part of the month, so around the 15th, 17th of October, something like that. Still looking below average there. A bit of cold snap, and then maybe a slight recovery in the temperature taking place as we get into the towards the last week of the month. Precipitation-wise, quite a dry weather over the next week or so. Some rain coming through at times, so not completely dry. Will be a couple of bands of rain coming through, but for essentially that will be relatively light rain. As we get this drop in the temperature mid-month, it does turn more unsettled. It's associated with low pressure, so it could turn quite cold and wet around the middle part of October, and then maybe going a little bit drier again right at the very end of the ensemble graph. Of course, that is a very long way off. Temperature anomalies from the 7th to 15th of October, about to a little bit above average. Precipitation anomalies from the 7th, 15th of October. Bit wetter average west of Scotland, otherwise drier than normal. Latest wind by map from earth.knowlschool.net shows that we're changing the wind direction today. So we've still got those very mild southwesterlies going in the south of the country. There's a cold front coming southwards, and behind that we turn wind into a cooler northwesterly direction, and so temperatures will be dropping away as the day wears on. It's not going to be quite chilly, actually. Right, so this is how later you can make your run is looking at midnight on Monday. There will be another weather system coming in off the Atlantic then, and doing something very similar actually to the one we got coming through today. So that will bring a band of rain through the country. That rain will turn lighter as it gets into the south, but we'll pull in some cooler winds from the northwest. And high pressure re-establishes, but Tuesday brings a lot of dry weather with it. That carries on into Wednesday, and then through Thursday and Friday, we're watching lower pressure developing in the Atlantic and moving in to the country. So, second half of next week has an increasingly wet and windy look to it. Icon! Looks like that again. Weather system coming southeast was on Monday, taking a band of rain into high pressure on Tuesday. That sticks around for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Increasingly unsettled with a deep area of low pressure sweeping in from off. Now, it's also a bit stormy by the end of the week. That very wet and windy weather sweeping across the country. The GFS midnight run once more with that system coming southeast was on Monday, bringing a band of rain with it. We're into high pressure again on Tuesday. That carries on for Wednesday. Then through Thursday and Friday, low pressure deepens in the Atlantic, starts to move wet and windy weather our way. That's midnight Friday to Saturday next week, looking very wet and windy. Maybe gale force winds sweeping through Ireland, England, and Wales there. Of course, the exact track of that low pressure is to be determined because it's around a week away. And then as that low moves away through the weekend of the 15th, 16th of October, that starts to pull wind into that colder northerly. So down come these northerly winds as the high pressure moves out into the mid-Atlantic and sits to the south of Greenland. Low pressures over Scandinavia and into southern North Sea. And between the two, in come those cold northern winds. So I might have a chilly birthday this year. Who knows? Beyond that, so that's day 10. Beyond that, we start to see wind backing more in towards the west to north. So not as cold, but still unsettled with further areas of low pressure pushing through. We end up with a GFS midnight run under a ridge of high pressure. That's probably quite a cool ridge and could bring some overnight frost with it. GFS 6Z, again, with that weather system coming southeast on Monday, taking some showery rain with it. We're into high pressure on Tuesday. That gradually then weakens away through the second half of next week as this low pressure deepens in the Atlantic, bringing wet and windy weather sweeping through the country at the end of next week. And we keep it very unsettled then into the weekend of 15th, 16th of October with low pressure bringing showers of longer spells of rain. And winds going into the north as well, so becoming colder over that middle weekend of October too. That is day 10, 17th of October, and low pressure heading in from off the Atlantic within quite cold air too. So cold and wet really through the middle part of October. Beyond that, we find the high pressure slipping southwards to sit just to the southwest of the country. That starts to allow milder or less cold air to move back in from off the Atlantic, and we finish up actually taking that high pressure northeastwards, Scandinavia. So finish up with a little bit of Scandinavian high trying to get going there by the very end of the GFS midnight run, which gets us to the 23rd of October. That's a very long way out for such developments, though, of course. If you enjoyed the video, please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. We got to put on around 88 subscribers to get to 14,600, 14.6k. So if you could give us a sub, it would be absolutely fantastic if you can do that. Thank you so very much, everyone, doing that. Tell friends and family to subscribe as well. GM looks like this with a weather system coming southeastwards on Monday, doing something very similar to a system that got moving southwards across the country today, actually. Tuesday under a ridge of high pressure, lots of dry weather then through into Wednesday. That high pressure gradually weakens, and then again Thursday, Friday deepens low pressure in the Atlantic, wet and windy weather sweeping in from off the Atlantic. By the time you get through the weekend of 15th, 16th of October, looking very unsettled, really autumnal. Low pressure right over top of the country. And Ron McCall's driver jet stream there as well. So becoming cooler or even colder around this middle part of October period and wet. And then we get through to the ECM WF finally. And it's all much of a muchness. Should be open next week. Good agreement for a band of rain through southeast was on Monday. That will become lighter patch to the south. Then high pressure brings dry weather through Tuesday, most areas stay dry into Wednesday, and then into Thursday and particularly Friday, wet and windy weather sweeping in from off the Atlantic with that area of low pressure, maybe gale force winds there, Friday into Saturday. And then the low pressure clears way to the east, and we turn colder and wetter into the weekend, 16th, 17th of October. This low just here, if that runs in, that could give some very, very wet weather to the south over that weekend. The ECM she moves out northwards, so not as cool actually with the ECM, not as much of a northerly with the ECM because of that secondary low delaying the northerly getting through. So out of all of the model runs, I think the ECM is the mildest for the weekend of the 15th, 16th to 17th of October. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from tometeo.com. So there's wet weather coming south eastwards, certainly into Monday. That does bring a little bit of rain into the south early next week. Then we're under high pressure for Tuesday and Wednesday, with most of the wet weather confined to the far north and northwest. But through Thursday and Friday into that weekend, it turns increasingly wet and windy. And those unsettled conditions stay with us through the weekend of the 15th, 16th, 17th of October. That's midnight on the 17th. And it looks very unsettled, doesn't it? These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today for day 10. From the Icelandic Met Office, gets us to the 17th of October. No, it doesn't. That's wrong. Hold on, hold your horses. Hold your horses. That's 17th of September. Right, let's do that again. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles. I saved it, didn't I? Gav saved it. I pulled it out. Oh dear. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Get a sense of deja vu. Deja vu, maybe. From the Icelandic Met Office for the 17th of October. 15 members of the ECM Ensemble, including control and the operation run with the Mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland and low pressure right over top of the channels. Very unsettled. 10 with low pressure to our east, high pressure to the west, and winds are coming in from a north or northeast direction. Another 10 with high pressure to our west and northwest, low pressure to our south. That's most of the in the south, quite cool with winds in from the northeast. 9 with blocking within high latitudes. Interesting. Low pressure to our south, that brings wet weather into the south. And then 7 with high pressure in the North Atlantic, low pressure across northern and western Europe. They all look very unsettled, don't they, today 10. Just depends whether we're pulling in like northerly winds, so it's cold and wet, or whether it's mild or wet. But they all look very, very, very unsettled, I have to say. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to 22nd of October, 20 members of the ECM Ensemble. Get some sort of high pressure going up towards Svalbard, maybe. With low pressure. It's all fell apart, this live sheet, hasn't it? All fell apart. Low pressure just to our south. They're going to bring rain into the south. 19, though, under high pressure. Look at that. High pressure reaching in from the Azores. Low pressure is pushed northwards along with the jet stream. Dry weather in the south of that, and relatively mild. And then 12, deep low pressure over the UK and Western Europe. That's going to be the most unsettled of the options. That will be very wet if it verifies. Lastly, here's the CFSB2 for November. I think it was something I might have said that we're going to have a look at CFSB2 for the next 4 weeks. We're not doing that, actually, because we did that with JMA Friday, of course. Instead, we're going to show you... This is fell apart, this video. Instead, we're going to show you the CFS for November. And it looks mild, this high pressure. So what's new to the CFS? High pressure to the south, probably lower pressure through here. We have got some relatively high heights over the northern latitudes, though, but not strong enough to push anything cold into the mid-latitudes at this point. So just relatively mild with high pressure to our south. Temperature anomalies are above average in most red coasts, so quite a warm November, 1 to 2 degrees above normal. And precipitation anomalies show no particular signal. It's only a week ago that the CFS was showing extensive northern blocking and a chance of a cold November, so it's flipped on that. Maybe, who knows, it might flip back in the next week or two. We'll wait and see. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, subscribe, and just show everyone doing that. Don't forget to tell friends and family to subscribe as well. And why not drop a comment and let us know what you got to listen to all of our videos. And if you do give us a sub, you're going to be able to see future weather content, including future Christmas sneak peeks, and not to mention live streams, and as well as all that, the winter updates. And that brings me nicely on to what's coming up over the weekend. So please give us a sub. So tomorrow we're going to start our 6 a.m. upload. We'll have the ECM day 42 day forecast. We'll have a weekend forecast and a 10 to 14 day too. And then on Sunday we've got the 6th winter 2022-2023 update. It's going to be great. It's going to be epic. And that'll be released at 10 a.m. on Sunday. No Sunday live stream. We will be live streaming, however, on Monday, when we will discuss that winter update. And of course, Monday's live stream will be at 8 p.m. You enjoy the rest of your Friday, but for this one, and it's been an experience, hasn't it? I think you'll agree on that. Been an experience. That's all for now, and thanks for watching. See you soon.